I request that we will remain standing so that we can have the national anthem. The national anthem followed by the East African Community Anthem. Hi, the DJ. Of the East African Community Anthem, please. Then while we are still studying, I will request Madam Pauline Karaoke to lead us in prayers.
Let's bow for a word of prayer. Lord, we humbly come before you, Lord, with thanksgiving in our hearts. We thank you, Lord, for this day that was known to you. Thank you for this event as we gather here, Lord, to celebrate. We pray that you bestow unto us the grace, the wisdom that is required, Lord. We thank you for our CS. We thank you for our governor. We thank you for our leaders in this nation. We commend ourselves to you. And as we enjoy and celebrate this day, Lord, we want to pray that your presence will be together with us. We thank you, Lord, and we honor you. In Jesus' name we pray and give thanks.
Amen. Thank you very much, Madam Pauline. I request that we all take seats. At this juncture, I want to welcome the Chief Principal to make his welcoming remarks, make a speech, and also take over the program. Welcome, sir.
Our chief guest, Professor George Maghoha, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, His Excellency Francis Kimemia, the Governor of Nyandarua County, Area Member of Parliament for Jororok, Mr. Michael Mushira, the Chief Administrative Secretary, the Principal Secretary, State Department for Vocational and Technical Training, Dr. Margaret Mwakima, the County Commissioner, Chair, Governing Council, Nyandarua National Polytechnic, Professor Evelyn Wagayu, Director, DTE, Mr. Mulati, the County Director of Education, Nyandarua County, Mr. Wambua, Governing Council members, staff students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Our guest of honor, before I give a brief statement, you'll allow me to introduce a few people just by waving you, those who have come to celebrate with us. And I would wish I start with my staff, my senior management, where you are. Kindly stand up and wave at our chief guest. My HODs, stand up and wave at our chief guest. Trainers. Then student council, wave at the, thank you. Our guest of honor, sir, I also have my colleagues in the CAT fraternity, and I would also request them to stand up and wave at you. We have the CAT chair, Glory Mutungi. We have all the principals in the National Polytechnics and all the TTIs. Kindly sit down. Kenya Secondary School Aids Association, we had also invited them. Stand up if you are around. Kenya Primary School Aids Association, any member? Thank you. Our guest of honor, it is with great pleasure and humility that I take this opportunity to welcome you to this official launch of our Polytechnic and unveiling of our strategic plan for the period 2021 to 2026. Thank you for finding time to grace this auspicious occasion. At Nyandarua National Polytechnic, sir, we offer diverse TVET programs in a way that provides trainees with the best experience and opportunity to succeed and to enjoy their years at the Polytechnic. The outcomes achieved by our trainees and the successful pathways they follow reflect the excellent education they experience with us. Sir, it is important to note that since our elevation, there has been remarkable shift in the focus from an Institute of Science and Technology to a National Polytechnic. This is an indication that we are ready to take up the challenges of our new status. The elevation is an indicator that the Kenya government, through the Ministry of Education, is cognizant of our commitment to continue to improve our competitiveness in TVET. The new status has expanded our mandate as a polytechnic and has enabled us to take more national focus in the service delivery. Besides, we have also witnessed a sharp increase of student population from 1,200 to 2,500, which is 100% increment. So with this momentum, I can see the population growing to over 10,000 students in the next 5 years. We have taken great strides towards the implementation of CBET curriculum by doing the following. We have retrained all our trainers in collaboration with the TVET CDAC on the implementation of CBET curriculum, and we continue training those who join us. We have started at least 2 courses in each department as we intend to go fully CBET in the near future. In the field of research, sir, the Polytechnic has entered into partnership with the Kenya Industrial Property Institute, KIPI, on the patenting of innovations by staff and trainees. We are also in the process of establishing a Technology Innovation Support Center, TISC, which will serve the Polytechnic and the entire Nyandarua community. Our Research, Development and Innovation Department, sir, has also spearheaded award of winning innovations among our staff and trainees. Notable among them is the weeding machine, the chain link making machine, which won the best award in the mechanical engineering category in the TVET fair, and the semi-automatic matchmaking machine, which was outstanding also during the Rift Valley Technical Institute TVET fair this year. The Polytechnic has developed a patenting policy in collaboration with KIPI to guide the incubation and eventual commercialization of the innovations for the mutual benefit of the institution and the innovators. Towards the realization of the Big Four, sir, the Polytechnic has increased the land under cultivation to 20 acres as a contribution towards food security. We have also increased the dairy cattle from 4 to 10 to meet our internal demand for milk and also help the surplus. So as we take our position as the 11th National Polytechnic in the country, we acknowledge the importance of collaborations and partnerships with stakeholders, including industry and academia. There will be, this will enable us to provide market-driven and relevant courses so that our graduates can take their place in the transformation of our country. We have signed MOUs with various national and international partners, among them colleges and institutes Canada, under the project called Supporting Innovations in Technical and Vocational Education, where we are doing value addition to potato with a target of coming up with fortified potato flour. Through the Ministry of Education, sir, we are also partnering with the same organization through another project called Young African Works Kenya TVET, which is helping us establish centers of excellence in agriculture-related TVET programs, a program which will eventually improve employability of TVET graduates in the agriculture sector. We are in the process of signing an MOU with the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, CARO, on potato seed multiplication, and the National Industrial Training Authority, NITA, and KSG for accreditation as training centers. Despite these successes, we are faced with numerous challenges of mobilizing funds to build training rooms, hostels, developing new infrastructure to cater for the increasing population, and also to match the industry trends to ensure relevance in training. We acknowledge the fact that we require heavy investment in both infrastructural and human resource capacities, which continue to stretch the scarce financial resources at our disposal. Finally, sir, I would like to thank you and the government of Kenya in a special way for the renewed commitment to TVET and recognize technical training as a vehicle for achieving the Vision 2030. The funding of trainees through capitation and provision of loans and bursaries by HELP is greatly appreciated, as he is the provision of training equipment and machinery. We remain committed to quality training and declare our resolve to continue addressing the opportunities and challenges that come our way, more so in playing our role in the realization of the Big Four agenda. Thank you, sir, for accepting to grace our function, and may God bless you as you continue touching the lives of our youth in this country and beyond. God bless Nyandarua National Polytechnic. God bless Kenya. Thank you. And now let me invite the Chair, Governing Council, Professor Wagayu, to take over from there.
Our chief guest, Professor George Maghoha, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, His Excellency Honorable Francis Kimemia, Governor, Nyandara County, Area Member of Parliament, Mr. Mushira, and all other MPs present, Chief Administrative Secretary, Mr. Nur Hassan Nur, Principal Secretary, State Department for Vocational and Technical Training, Dr. Margaret Mwakima, County Commissioner, Nyandara County, Mr. Benson Lepalmorijo, members of County Assembly, Director DTE, Mr. Tom Mulati, Governing Council members, staff and trainees, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the official launch of Nyandara National Polytechnic and also our strategic plan for the period 2021-2026. So, the idea behind the establishment of Nyandara Institute of Science and Technology, now Nyandara National Polytechnic, was to create an institution that could meet the educational and development needs of the Nyandara County and beyond. This idea was mooted in the early 1980s by the people of Nyandara who contributed their resources for the project to be realized. Among the main contributors in the initial effort were parents of children in schools in the then Nyandara district. The construction works started in 1996, and the institute admitted its first batch of students in September 2006. Over the years, the Polytechnic has grown in terms of enrollment and infrastructure, and has made a name for itself in the region in provision of technical and vocational education and training, research and innovation. The elevation of our institute to a national polytechnic in December 2020 couldn't have come at a better time. It provided us with the impetus to invigorate ourselves and take a pivotal role in making our institution a center of excellence within the region and nationally. We are proud to be part of the TVET sector, where we provide knowledge, skills, and attitude that have become a key driver of growth and development, even globally. In view of this, we have put efforts to ensure that there exists an enabling and friendly environment that will enhance delivery of quality TVET programs for sustainable development of Kenya and beyond. Nyandarua National Polytechnic is key to ensure that the TVET programs pursued will enable the trainers acquire the necessary skills, knowledge, experience, and confidence to be exemplary leaders in their professions, to be role models in their communities, and become responsible citizens wherever their careers might take them in the world. The Council is committed to embracing best practices in the industry. It facilitated various benchmarking exercises as we prepared to launch various programs that are skill-oriented and more relevant to the industry. We have also benchmarked with other peers at the national level on the best practices for national polytechnics. As the Governing Council, we are mandated to mobilize resources, utilize them effectively and efficiently to promote technical and vocational training. This mandate is enshrined in our Strategic Plan 2021-2026, which has been aligned with the Big Four Agenda, Vision 2030, and SDGs. The strategic plan will provide the Polytechnic with a roadmap in carrying out our new mandate as a national polytechnic and manage the anticipated fast growth in terms of student population, infrastructure, training programs, and labor force. It also provides a basis for overcoming perceived challenges in achieving the desired educational and training goals. In the recent past, the Polytechnic student population has grown tremendously as a result of collaboration with NYS, COOPs, and other stakeholders, thus exerting pressure on our existing resources and facilities. To this end, sir, we continue to appeal for support from the Ministry for the projects in our strategic plan in order to take our rightful position as a national polytechnic in this region. Top in the priority list are classrooms, laboratories, workshops, student hostels, among others. Sir, we urgently require a tuition block because, as you have seen, most of our classes are conducted in the tents due to acute shortage of classrooms. Besides infrastructure, sir, just like any other TVET institution, we are also experiencing acute shortage of trainers. Currently, the Council has employed over 70 trainers, and this has led to a lot of financial constraints on the Polytechnic. Sir, with proper mitigating measures on the above challenges, we shall be able to deliver on our core mandate, that of provision of quality education, research, and innovations. A collaborative effort from our partners is also paramount if we have to realize the TVET agenda, and I urge development partners and other stakeholders to back up our efforts. For example, we urgently require a pedestrian walk from Omore to the Polytechnic to avoid accidents. We also need deceleration and acceleration lanes on both sides of the road, bumps, possibly a pedestrian overpass crossing, a bus stop, street lights for security purposes. In this vein, I do request KENHA and the county government to look into the issues. The COVID-19 pandemic has also had an impact on our resources, and we are committing every effort at our disposal to make sure we come up with innovative ways of mitigating the effects of the pandemic. Through innovation, we are confident that we can turn the risks posed by the pandemic into opportunities for growth. The Council is pleased with the efforts of the Polytechnic management and staff, and they have continued to undertake to enhance the quality and relevance of academic programs offered and commitment to continue to sustain quality standards. The Chief Principal, Mr. Felix Mungatu, and his management team and the trainers have done a wonderful job, and we celebrate them. It is worthy to recognize the exemplary efforts of the founding fathers of the institution. Of special mention is the Pioneer Management Committee led by Mr. Joseph Kavodi. The first BOG under the stewardship of Professor Dirango Kioni, Professor Matthew Theuri, Honorable Engineer Morioki Karue, Honorable Boro Maderi, and other leaders who have contributed in mobilizing resources for the development of this institution. We are proud of their efforts, and we commit to ensure that we will also make them proud. As I conclude, I wish to thank the Government of Kenya, the Ministry of Education, our development partners, and other stakeholders for their continued financial and material support. Finally, I thank all our partners, collaborating institutions, staff, and students for their continued support and dedication, and urge that we continue to strive to achieve greater heights of excellence in the coming years. At this juncture, I would like to recognize the founding members who are here, if they could stand and wave. Yes. The governing council members, please stand up and wave. If there are any members of the previous board present, they could stand and wave at us too. Any members of previous boards? Okay, thank you, and God bless you.
Our Chief Guest, the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education, the Excellency, the Governor, the Principal Secretary, State Department for Vocational and Technical Training, the Council, led by the Council Chair, the Principal, distinguished guests, and the entire Nyandara fraternity, good afternoon. Well, my name is Tom Mulati, Director of Technical Education. I'll very briefly introduce the ministry officials present. Dr. Juma Mhwana, Constant, from Kenya National Polytechnic Authority, is present. Tibeta is represented by Director Fred Oanda, is there. Tibet SIDAC is led by Dr. Lawrence Kontai, somewhere there. Yes, and I also wish to recognize the County Education Office, the officers in the County Education. You may stand. We appreciate you for standing with this institution. Thank you. I also wish to recognize the County Director, Tibet, who she's manning Meru, Isiolo, Samburu, and Nyandara. Margaret Nduru, she's there. Yeah, I think that is the far we have come. You are the guest of honor. I wish to report that as a directorate, we did come here, and we have done a needs analysis, and we will continue to provide interventions as we get approvals from the office of the PS and yours. And Part of it has already started with this sensitization of the heads of department on the new mandate. And with those few remarks, I also allow me to recognize Ian Wanda from Young Africa Works. Yes, thank you. That is a partner who is also having an agricultural-based program here under Young Africa Works. At this point in time, this is not my day. I wish to welcome the County Commissioner to lead us from there. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Madam Director. Our chief guest for today, CS for Education, Professor George Maghoha, Principal Secretary, Tibet, our Chief Administrative Secretary, our Governor Nyandara, Honorable Francis Kimemia, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, sir, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Nyandarua. Karibu Nyandara, sir, and feel at home in Nyandara. You know, sir, your working schedule is a very tight one. You are coming here today. It's a sign of great honor, sign of great commitment. And so we know the passion you have in your work. You have steered this ministry, sir, to great heights, particularly in the improvement of the educational standards in this country, and even in ensuring the integrity of our national exams. So everybody in this country, sir, knows the great work you've done. So it's a pleasure having you in Nyandarua today, sir. Welcome, sir. So, sir, with your permission, just want to recognize the presence of the security team from Nyandara West. Kindly just stand where you are. So, with your permission, sir, we have the area MP, Honorable Mishira. I think, with your permission, sir, I can say hi. Hi, Mishima.
Our chief guest, Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor Maghoha, PS for Vocational and Technical Training, the CAS for the Ministry of Education, our Governor, Honorable Kimemia, the Chairperson of the Council of Governance, and the Principal, and our ministry officials and other guests. Good afternoon. My name is Maghoha. I'm the area member of Parliament, and I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this great constituency. I also want to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest. Today, we are making a great stride in the history of this institution and the county at large, with the first one-story building having been brought up through the community funds drive, and thereafter various members of parliament within the county coming together to complete the project through the CDF kitty. The tremendous growth cannot be ignored. A big thank you to all those who made it happen. And at this juncture, I want to also appreciate among the founding members, Engineer Muriuki Karwe. I appreciate you so much. And in absentia, I want to appreciate former PC Kaburi. I want to thank His Excellency the President, because when we did this proposal and we took it to His Excellency the President through the Ministry of Education, he passed it without much ado. So I want to thank His Excellency the Presidency. Professor, when you're back, please pass our appreciation to the President. I also want to thank you, Professor. You came here when we were doing the assessment, and that time you did not smile because there was a lot of work that we were supposed to do. But I was happy, and I want to thank the chairperson of the council and the principal for the good work you've done. Because today the professor was smiling all the day, and he's still smiling. So thank you very much. I would like to say, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rope off our children there tomorrow. With the labor market shifting from employment to practical or skill-based, we must elevate the vocation and technical route as compared to the pure academic route. The greatest aim of education is not only to create knowledge, but also to impact hands-on skills and action. This is the only sure way of self-employment and creation of job opportunity at the long run. Under the CDF, because we also want to contribute to this great milestone today, we committed, and we still commit, to do a police post within the institution so that we improve on security. This is in accordance with the ministry policy that such big institutions should have a police post to ensure that to ensure safety of the students and the community surrounding. We will also ask the county government, and we will also work with the Ministry of Energy to do a mast or street lights, so that we also enhance security and ensure that there is light at night. We've requested the Ministry of Water and Irrigation, and we have representative of the CS here, for a borehole in the school, so that we have enough supply of water in the institution. And finally, we are going to work together with the council and the county government and the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure to ensure that we have a pedestrian bridge. And what the chairperson has said, the accelerating and the decelerating, we are going to push together to ensure that that happens. Before I finish, we have the area MCA, Gatimo. Maybe he can just say a word. Then we have the Speaker of the County Assembly, and I have my colleague here, Honorable Koina from Kinago.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. My name is Kiero. I am happy, as I observe all protocols, to thank you and everybody who has come to make sure this day has come to be. When I grew up as a small boy, I remember how this place was, because I don't come far from this place. Today, I take pride and thank all of you for making this dream come to be. I will not want to repeat a lot of things that have been said, but I join hands together with you and all the kind of needs that I know the students have given me, because my office is not far from here. And I appreciate what the chair has actually mentioned. All those requirements and those needs, especially along the road, the pedestrian walkways, the lights, we believe they are going to be done. And as a county government, and as my governor sits here together with me, I believe it is something that we can commit to undertake. Secondly, is that we are also lucky and happy, and I discussed with some of them, is that just on the other side of the road, there is enough road reserve and railway reserve to do a proper stage or a proper bus stop. I believe we can do that. Thank you very much. And we also discussed, because we have serious problems of the estate, Your Excellency, the public health officials can bear witness with me, the estate that is actually occupied by most of the students here, we have serious health problems because of drainage. The toilets that we have sunk there have started bringing problems. So we need to think about a sewer line. I discussed with people of Nyahururu Water and Sanitation Company. They were telling me because of this drainage, Jamoka River, which drains all the way to Thompson's Falls, where Nyahururu sewer line is, we can think of putting a sewer line that can collect the waste from this area so that you have a healthy student fraternity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Maghoha. As I invite Honorable Kwenya, I want to give apologies for Honorable Kimemia, our majority leader in Parliament. He's on his way, but I want to give his apologies for now. Receive apologies from Mheshimiwa Kioni, MP for Daragwa. He's out of the country. Apology from our women rep, Honorable Faith Gitau, and Honorable Kiaraho, MP for Olokarau. Mheshimiwa Kwenya, karibu.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Muchira. CS for Education, CAS, PS, Honorable Governor of Nyandarua County, Chairperson of this great institution, and all protocols observed. Good afternoon. I want to take this very first opportunity first to thank God for this juncture that we are here. It is really and indeed a milestone that by God's grace we are here after a dream that was dreamt by a people who didn't have much in their hands, but they believed that one day we would have such a big institution. And today we have every reason to be happy and to dream again, so that then the place where we are today, I mean the juncture that we are today, we can only expand and even soar higher than we have gotten today. And CS, I just want to bring my appreciation to the leadership of Nyandarua. Our first dream was to have a university here, and I remember we walked this journey with the governor and the leadership, and we put some signboard, some place in Captain, that this is the place we're going to put our university. Of course, which we did not realize. But I remember in one of our sittings, the area MP of this place, Mheshimiwa Mushera, who is standing behind me here, made a prayer that even if you're not going to achieve this dream within this time, I mean the actualization of having a university, then we have low-hanging fruits. I want to quote his words. We have low-hanging fruits to have Nyandarua Institute of Science and Technology elevated to the level of National Polytechnic. That was 3 years ago. Here we are today, having walked, changing lives, changing the story, and this story can only get better. As I conclude, Honorable CS, I only have that prayer, that keep it in your mind, there is only Nyandarua County in the entire region that we call Mount Kenya, where we do not have a university. And therefore, even as you go home, know as much as we're going to invest here, because I know this institution can only grow. We still need a university around, and I know it is in your mind. The land is there, and the dream is there, and I know for sure one day we're going to actualize it. I thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, CS. Thank you for that opportunity. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. In the interest of time, and our CS has another function. And I now want to take this opportunity to welcome our governor. To us. Mkaribishe Mheshimiwa Governor moja.
Asante. Thank you very much, County Commissioner. Asante sana. Our chief guest, Mheshimiwa Professor Maghoha, George Maghoha, the chairman, Nyandarua National Polytechnic Council, Professor Wagayu, and all the council members who are here. Mheshimiwa wetu ambao wamefika hapa, Mheshimiwa wa hapa Ojorok, na pia Mheshimiwa pale kwetu Kinako, Mheshimiwa na Mheshimiwa wa Kinako pia amekuja hapa na ametusaidia. The principal all staff bana kwenye sijasahau jina lako. Principal na all staff na students wetu wa Nyandarua National Polytechnic. I want to recognize people who are not here but who are very, very special. Professor Maghoha, and I know you have worked with them very well. Mr. Kaguzi Joseph, tupigie makofi hata kama yuko hapa. He's been very, very instrumental. I remember when I was employed in the public service, he was very dear. He talked very, very dearly about this institution, and I'm sure they are very happy wherever they are about what is happening. Mheshimiwa Karue, our Senator Karue, the architect of CDF, pia kwa hapa tupigie makofi hata leo. And of course, Professor Kioni from the university there, I know they have been very passionate. When I was working with the Professor Maghoha here when I was still in the Harambee House, I remember he was very, very passionate about supporting this institution. Mr. Madheri was the chairman of the council here. Na wengine wengi wazee wengi ambao tumekuwa nao ambao they dreamed about this institution. And you know, young people who are here, if you don't dream, somebody else you'll be implementing somebody else's dream. So it's good to dream and dream well. And you can see a journey of almost 20-30 years is now coming to fruition. And it's presented by none other than
our minister, our very gracious minister who is here with us. And of course, all the officers from the national government, from the county government. We have many invited guests. I want to appreciate all of you, including our students who are, the parents who may be here, the citizens of Nyandara County who are here. I came with a few members of my cabinet. Maybe you can stand up and introduce you to the minister and the congregation here. I don't know, I can't see well from here. Who is this? From here you can't see there. So, Kimemia, is that? This Mr. Kimemia, the chief officer in charge of education. Waziri Mbele here is in charge of the roads, mambo ya barabara na mambo ya stima. Hizo vitu tumeitisha zote zitafanya. Can you commit that hizo vitu tutafanya waziri? Mr. kurudia tena. They want an acceleration lane, they want a deceleration lane, they want hizi mataa inatoka juu. Yes, inaitwa juu lane. Can you confirm that you are going to put them tumalize hiyo mambo hapa? Just 1 minute.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Yes, we will.
Asante. Asante sana. Yes. Where is Joroge? Mr. Joroge is the Minister for Finance, and I know we had a program here for if the national government puts in a borehole, we don't have to put another one. But there is water flowing through this place. Can you avail money to ongeza maji hapa? Because a big population. This is a big population. They need a lot of water. Students hiyo vijana wanapenda maji, lazima tuwapatie maji waweze ya kunywa na pia ya kuoga na irrigation pia katika mashamba zetu. So I want to let's support them then of course we have a minister for education, CEC education, and Mr. Wagenge tupiga pia makofi. Wanjiru, oh yeah, huyu ndio waziri wa maji. Waziri wa maji, hata ukiwa hapo you can confirm tutaweka maji hapa. Is that so? Yes, we are going to. Asante. Na sisi najua mheshimiwa Maghoha, sisi ni kusema na kutenda. Hakuna mambo ya kusema vitu na vinakuwa historia tu. So by the time you come here in February, waziri amesema anakuja hapa February. So ukija hapa hizo vitu, nataka hizo vitu zote tuwe tumefanya ili tuweze kumaliza mambo ya maji, mambo ya barabara, mambo ya hizo mastima za kutoka juu, iwe ya sola ama iwe ya mambo mengine, itakuwa mzuri. Kuna mtu nimesahau? Anybody? Mr. Achille is a chief of staff, ako hapa pia. Asante. So mnaweza kukaa chini. Asante sana. Mimi nimeintroduce wote. Asante sana. So I'll be very brief. Boss, hii ni siku ya minister wetu. Kwanza ni I don't want to read this speech. I'll just summarize in just a few statements. Niseme kwanza nitoe shukrani kubwa sana kwa waziri wetu kuweza kufika hapa siku ya leo. Amefika hapa. He was here just a few months ago, and I also got wind that he was not very happy. Lakini nikamwambia mzee, tulia tu, ile timu ambayo umeweka itafanya kazi. Na wamefanya kazi nzuri. Tupige the new management. Makofi mazuri, led by the chairman here, the chair leader here, the new principal, the new management. Even in terms of discipline, Waziri Maghoha, even in terms of discipline, these students are very disciplined. We can appreciate. It's going to tell you because we get a lot of information. I can assure you this institution is on the move. It's changing. It fits to be, a national polytechnic, polytechnic that is as good as any other university. But that's something we have discussed with the minister here. What would stop us as we move on from? We are not saying that we drop these certificates and diploma, but there is nothing wrong with this college being able to award degrees while it is still the capacity it is in, so that these students here don't have to move out of here and go to JKUAT to get a degree. They can still get a degree, and I'm sure the professor here is an expert in hii mambo ya academia. Mimi ni mwanasiasa, yeye ndiye sasa shupavu ya mambo ya academia, and I can assure you he was one of my best vice chancellors. When I was in the head of public service, I used to have many meetings. One of the most transformative vice chancellors was Professor Maghoha, wakati alikuwa in charge of Nairobi University. Mkitembea Nairobi, najua wengi wamjui Nairobi, lakini mkitembea Nairobi, ikieni University of Nairobi, muone nyumba moja hapo kubwa, the towering structure that has been, chairman, I know you know. Muone ile nyumba ambayo alijenga. You must leave a legacy. If you are head of a CEO, gives not only strategic direction and also creates institutions and the culture, but he must also build, he must leave a legacy. He left a great legacy at the University of Nairobi, and we're very proud. I'm an alumni of Nairobi University, so we're very proud of you, Professor Maghoha, and I know you have come here, you have said you come back in February. This institution will change. This institution, I can assure you, will change with Professor Maghoha being at the helm and being there, supporting the president to move the education agenda. And don't be afraid. I once worked in the Ministry of Education, by the way, before I moved to Harambee House with Mzee Kibaki. And I can assure you, it's one of the busiest ministries. Ile mambo iko huko, hata kitu inaweza haribika. Unaweza kaa kama mtu mwenda wazimu, huko Polytechnic, huko mtihani imeibua, huko mambo imekuwa, university imesaidiwa ikuwa strike, pale iko nini, pale. So I didn't know that ministry is so complex, but the way you have managed that university, it requires a lot of courage, a lot of grace from God. The member at CBC, please move on. When I introduced 844 with the Omore, people fought it. Ilipigwa sana wakati tulianzisha 844. When the president came up with free secondary education, tena ikaanza kupigwa. Hata hii watu watapiga. Kuna watu ambao kazi yao ni kupiga. Akiamka asubuhi ni kupiga. Akilala ni kupiga. Anatupa mateke usiku nini? Mara anauma mwingine. So don't worry. Just do what you have to do to build this country. This country cannot be built by cowards. I can assure you. We moved the Kenyan economy from -8 to 7.3% with the Vice Chancellor being here at the University of Nairobi. Tupiga makofi mazuri, kazi nzuri. And you know, that time Nairobi University was a center of excellence in terms of scholarship, in terms of academia, in terms of standards, in terms of quality assurance. It was a university of choice. Anybody from now, and you have seen the rankings of the University of Nairobi, when he was the Vice Chancellor, and even now, it's still one of the best institutions in Africa, in the world, in terms of competition, scholarship competitions and so on. And because Professor, I don't want to spend a lot of your time and it's like uulize kwani huyu amekuwa mwanasiasa sasa ila gani? Mimi actually focus just a few areas I would like to request you to, because I would like to invite you to come again, even if before February. Walimu ameniuliza whether you could come, particularly the hands of institutions, hands of schools, hands of secondary, primary, hands of these institutions in the county, whether you could come and have a day to kutembeza mashule. Uone mashule zingine bado ni za matope. Mashule zingine hapa Nyandarua bado ni za matope, primary schools, secondary schools. We see how we can support our parents to scale up those schools to further kuendelea mbele. And so that wakati wanapeana pesa kutoka Nairobi, please remember that Nyandara, wakati wa koloni walitoka hapa, hatukuachiwa shule, hatukuachiwa hospitali, hatukuachiwa hata kilomita moja ya lami, hatukuachiwa nothing. Tuliachwa tu na Mungu. Bado tuko na Mungu na tunaendelea na Mungu. By the way, Nyandara means the place where God comes to rest. That's the meaning of Nyandara County, the place where God comes to rest. So we are now resting with God. And I know, umesema pale tukiwa pale. When Professor came, ameonyesha complex ambayo inajengwa hapa 90 billion shillings. And he called the PS. Akamuuliza PS, utapata hiyo 90 billion? PS akasema yes, tutatafuta. Tupige makofi wananchi wetu. Tutapata hiyo. So, mimi nikutoa tu shukrani. Ndio sababu nimesema sitasoma speech, nitoa tu shukrani. Kwa sababu nimefurahi sana. Hata profesa mwenyewe amefurahi. Amesikia raha ndani ya roho na roho ndani ya raha wakati anaingia hapa. So, kwa sababu ya improvement principle wetu, the principle, thank you for improving this college. Please transform this institution. As I conclude, there are things Mheshimiwa would like us to look at. Number 2, very special thanks to the President. The President Uhuru Kenyatta. Tupige makofi watu wetu. I know we were not with you in Mount Kenya, in Sagana, when we went to Sagana as a delegation from the bloc, the Central Kenya bloc. We are 10 governors, I chair that bloc. And when I was going to speak, Mheshimiwa Kalu is here, when he's here, the first point we raised, we would like this to become a national polytechnic. That was the first request that we put the President, and he has done it. He has done it, it has been gazetted. And you see, these things cannot happen unless the minister supports. Unless the minister supports, even in terms of moving the gazette notice or the cabinet memo. So that's why I want to appreciate Professor Maghoha for that support, the support you are giving to the President in improving quality of education across the country and also in Nyandara County. I know you talked with him in the morning. Mwambie, we are very, very happy. Mungu ambariki. Hiyo ni page moja ambayo alipatia Nyandara County na imetimika. So we are now celebrating a national polytechnic. So we like to appreciate him. The second issue, Mheshimiwa Maghoha, is the issue of now, more money to this polytechnic. You can still see it is still semi-national polytechnic. Lakini tuweke pesa mingi zaidi, tujenge hizo mahostel, tuweke hizo infrastructure, if you can increase the capitation for this university, ongeze pesa mingi zaidi ije hapa. Mimi nitashikia kama county governor, will support you, we work with you, we work with the chairman and the principal here and the management to know kwamba whatever the county needs to do to make sure this National Polytechnic becomes a center of excellence, I will be able to support and we shall proceed. You can get my assurance. You can get my assurance. The first chairman, if you want us to meet even next week, tukae chini tuseme hiyo mambo mnataka tufanye. We have the parental tissue culture across. We like to form a MOU so by the time February the minister comes, hiyo mambo ya viazi ambao wamepeana directive, tusaidiane to make sure kwamba hiyo mambo pia imefanyika na imefanywa na kuna kurudi nyuma kwa hiyo mambo. I also know that we need a title deed for this college. I know we came here with the chief officer. I don't know where she remained, but because we are here, Bwana Njoroge, and Bwana Njoroge, the title deed, I know is on progress. Tutoe hiyo title ili wale wezi ya mashamba hapa iko wengi, hapa wezi ni wengi ya mashamba ya umma tupatie hii college title deed yao, waweze kuwa na title deed yao and secure. But even as we do that, Professor Maghoha, I would like us to, if possible, meet the president with the leadership here to ongeze shamba. I think we can get another 100 acres. Another 100 acres. I know as a county government we are getting an extra 100 and we are getting 50 acres for Kemri. But there is nothing wrong with this institution getting an extra 100 acres. Another 100 acres. So that you can improve on research and development. And also those issues that you want to advance, the production of potatoes, the issue of dairy. I'm happy when the chairman said that you want to focus on agriculture and natural resource base. And I think you're on the right track. I would like to participate when you do your strategy plan, as a National Polytechnic, to find a pamoja, so that we collaborate and work together and make sure that we don't have to import potatoes from Egypt for chips. Ati sisi viazi yetu tu ni mokimo na hii nyama, hiyo viazi ya kula nyama, lakini ile chips ya KFC na hiyo high end centers that we importing potatoes. The professors challenged us, FCS, why can't you produce them here? So we need to work with you, with Mr. Munya and the National Potato Council to make sure that happens. And when I'm going to Ireland, because the president has directed that I go to Ireland and see how potato is being done, then I would like to carry one student, maybe one lecturer here, tuone vile kuna Kimando Gendo, tuone vile viazi na wanasaga viazi huko na vile wanakula, tuone kama tunakula vizuri ama iko namna gani, and how we also processing, and also we can get starch and very many products from a viazi. The last as I finish very quickly, CS Maghoha, the issue of coming up with a transformative agenda for our polytechnics is something I would like us to work together when you go back to Nairobi. I'll be visiting you so that will help us in capacity building. The issue of scholarships, I know you also get scholarships as a governor now in the county. Hawa vijana ukichukua mmoja upeleke Germany ama Australia, upeleke huko asomee huko. Kuna mtu atauma na tumbo vijana. Kuna mtu so if you do that, so pigeni makofi mazuri ili wazidi asikie. Yes. This is the National Minister for Education. Sio Minister wa county. Huyu wangu ni wa county. This is the Minister for the whole country. for national. And he has scholarships. Every year he has scholarships, hundreds, thousands. So tafadhali Nyandarua County sisi tunasikia hata wengine hawajakuja Nairobi. As they go to Australia wapitie Nairobi waweze kusoma na pate scholarships. Ningependa kulizia akaunti yangu tupate even tukianza hata na mbili tatu nne, tutakuwa tunasaidika sana kama county. Issue of declining education standards, we discussed that with you. The issue of number of teachers, we will share with you the report that we have. I don't want to focus on it. The people-teacher ratio here is still down, and the teachers are very, very, very few. And as I said, we still have mad schools. I'll give you a report separate so that I don't take a lot of time. Some of our teachers are never promoted in secondary school, in primary school. They have asked me to discuss this with you. We have a TTC in Nyandara, ambao wanafunzi wanakuwa ukienda huko utafikia National Cereals and Produce Board, mabati ndio imetengeneza hiyo mali ya vijana wetu kulala na watoto wetu kulala. I've sent you pictures, you see it was a crash program, but we need to also capacitate that. As I said, we have mad schools. The issue of hardship allowance. I know Waziri, you'll be shocked that I'm requesting that you consider Nyandarua County for hardship allowance. If you go to ukienda hapa Nyahururu, utakuta shule across the tarmac Laikipia wanapata hardship allowance. Padi hata Daragwa padi hakuna maji, mahali pekauka, walimu wetu wapate hardship allowance. If you go on this belt Kipipili all the way to huko kwenye Njoro inaitwa nini? Kenton, huko Kenton. Nyandara people think is a very productive area. We have a very dry belt, and I would like to put a very special request in the memorandum I sent to you for consideration for special hardship allowance, even if it is demand driven. If you just isolate those ecological systems or areas and give them hardship allowance. I know our teachers have really suffered, the ones bordering Laikipia, pande wanapatiwa chakula watoto. Sasa watoto wetu wanaenda huko wanakula chakula wanarudi shule Nyandara County. If you could also now consider those schools just the boundary of Laikipia, and ni shida kubwa sana ambao tuko nayo. Kuna shida ya laboratories. I don't want to give example because I will give you the paper. And we have also very congested dorms, including up at Nyandara High School. The dorms even here, across the polytechnics and VCTs. There's the polytechnics, there's a national and county government, extremely congested. And because government is one, we may say county, national, lakini wananchi ni moja. Shida ya national government na sisi ni moja. So, and because I know you know how to raise revenue, that university institution I told you, the big, I don't know if there's 40 floors. I don't know, Professor, I can't remember how many floors you put up. It's 22 floors. He never took a loan. He never borrowed anybody money. He never stole any money from someone. It was his own, what you call, own source revenue from, what the universities were charging, what the private students and students who came in were charging from the university's own savings. So, principal of the college here, you can see, once if you are comfortable with the resources, you can do wonders. And we want to support you, even to create a media team to do resource mobilization for this National Polytechnic, Mheshimiwa, so that we can be able to make sure that this institution moves from where it is to even a high level. Kuna mambo mengi nilikuwa nataka kusema, lakini wacha nikate ingine niweke kwa mabanda ambao tupatia waziri wetu. Nimtolee shukrani kubwa sana kuweza kufika mara ya pili. Siku hizi Kiswahili saa nyingine nasahau, Kiingereza saa nyingine nachanganya na Kiswahili kidogo, lakini I still could speak good English. Kuna wakati nilikuwa naongea Kiingereza mzuri, lakini kwa sababu ya kuongea Kikuyu sana hapa, Professor here speak Kikuyu throughout. So other when I'm chairing the cabinet here in the county, but there is a time, and it's always good to keep our hands sharp. So I want to encourage the students here. When I requested the minister, and he agreed that he look into it, that we could have this institution even in its own current status, but maybe with enhanced institutional capacity, it could still offer degrees. That would be a great milestone for this country. Great milestone. So I don't know, I think I will give it back to you. I think I'll give it back to yes, I'm supposed to invite our permanent secretary here, Mr. Makima, a very gracious lady, a lady who also supported me a lot when I was in the national government. Nikaappoint yeye kama mkubwa wa maparaseto mingi sana Kenya hii. Hata jibu kiniona msikia ati mimi ni mtu ya pesa nani. I got her when she was a young lady, and you can see the grace of God. She's a very accountable person, very results-oriented person, very likable person. I think one of the best officers we had in the parasitic sector was this PS, and I want to appreciate the president that he saw a great talent in PS Makima. Tupige makofi. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Governor, and I just want to really apologize. I think there was a little breach of protocol, but we'll still request you later to invite the Cabinet Secretary to your county. I also wish to appreciate you, because I know when you are the head of public service, you were able to identify me from beyond the beyonds, and you gave me to be the Vice Chair of Kenya Wildlife Service Board. You also are strategizing for me at some point to take over the Kenya Wildlife Service, and probably some of the discussions that I've led where I am, you could also be part of it. So thank you so much, Your Excellency. You never know sometimes when you invest and what you're likely to get. God bless you. Our chief guest, who is here today, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Professor George Maghoha. And I also want to inform you, Professor, that today the entire team that is supporting you to deliver TVET is with you here. We have the trainers led by the principals, the Chair Kati, Madam Glory. We also have the CEOs, the one responsible for qualifications and accreditation, the TVET KNQA CEO is also with you here. The one that is responsible for the development of the curriculum as well as the assessment, the CEO for TVET CDAC is with you here also. One will be helping us in standards as well as quality assurance towards licensing. The CEO Tibeta is also represented, and we also have ministry officials as well as our development partners. But of key is also the one who will help us to build capacity for our trainers, who is the chief principal of Kenya Technical Trainers College, Daktari, is also here with us. The governing council chair, together with your council, the principal, and together with the members of the staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with great pleasure to be able to join the Nyandarua National Polytechnic community on this very important occasion, to be able to launch the Polytechnic as well as the strategic plan for the period 2021-2026. I take this early opportunity to commend the National Polytechnic for this great achievement. The underlying success has been through hard work, resilience, and commitment towards excellence. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, the State Department mandate is to formulate, develop, implement, and monitor policies for the TVET sector. And this we do through our national polytechnics, our technical training institutes, our technical and vocational colleges, and vocational education and training centers, which were also formerly referred to as village polytechnics, and our state agencies, together with our development partners. The government is very keen in carrying out reforms in the TVET sector with a view to achieve access, equity, and increase the occupational of TVETs so that we can enhance quality and relevance in the sector. In view of this, I wish to inform that the number of TVET institutions stood at 52 in 2013, and we are now at 238. And this has been through a total investment from the national government of Kenya shillings 10.6 billion. Out of these 238 TVET institutions, 192 are fully operational and 46 are nearing completion. We've also equipped these institutions with the state-of-the-art equipment. We are only urging and requiring that the boards and the council to become more innovative, to be able to make our TVET institutions incubation and production centers. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the capitation where the government has invested about 10.3 billion and 11.1 billion from the HELB loans, our trainees have also increased from the 2019 baseline, where they were 55,945. We are now at over 249,000 countrywide. Honorable Your Excellency, we have been providing a conditional grant for 2 billion that has been going to every county where each has been receiving every financial year 10 million to be able to improve the quality and standards for the vocational training colleges. We wish to urge the county governments, because now this is being reflected in a consolidated fund, to continue prioritizing this fund to enhance the training in our vocational colleges, so that we can be able to socialize and be able to develop our youth together, because there are no youth for counties, there are no youth for national government, they are all youth for the entire country. Ladies and gentlemen, making TVET an effective driver for socioeconomic development in Kenya, it needs concerted efforts and actions of all stakeholders. One of the critical stakeholders is the private sector, since TVET and skills training does not create jobs for themselves, but for the private sector. So we have engaged a very robust and a very collaborative and consultative engagement with the industry, who are now informing the quality and relevance of our training through apprenticeship, internship, on-the-job training, but also curriculum development and assessment. The competence-based education and training concept is outcome-based. And so long as we have ever had the TVETs in our country, ours has always been to improve knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes of our learners, so that they can be able to provide the prerequisite skills towards industrialization and manufacturing. So for us, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, we are not relenting. We are continuing with the implementation of CBC. We are continuing with the implementation of the CBET curriculum, because we believe it's outcome-based, it's industry-centered, it's flexible, and it also involves the industry in all aspects of the implementation, therefore delivering responsive skills. And in addition, Cabinet Secretary, one of the objectives of CBET is for us to establish occupational standards which can be measured. We also want to train competent individuals with transferable skills. We also want to link education and training to the skills needed by employers. We also want to promote lifelong learning and progression and transfer, but we also want our graduates to have the necessary attitudes and abilities to respond to the rapidly changes within our global industry and manufacturing trends. So this we can only deliver through CBC and the CBET curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, technical and vocational education training is a driving force to address youth unemployment through the provision of knowledge, skills, research and innovation. And the government has made sure that each county has a technical training institute and a vocational training center. Our ultimate goal and dream is that each constituency should at least have a technical training institute. The vision is a high-quality, competent workforce for sustainable socioeconomic and environmental development, so that our youth can be able to provide the labor that is required within the Common Market Protocol. Under East Africa, we've just negotiated the African Free Continental Trade Area. We are members of the various regional economic blocs. So ours is to leverage the youth to be able to compete regionally at the intercontinental level as well as globally. Ladies and gentlemen, considering the innumerable economic and industrial challenges facing the country, TVET is a prerequisite in setting priorities to circumvent these challenges. Towards this end, the ministry has embarked on various reforms aimed at engaging the community, the parents, and stakeholders so that we can have a very changed, inclined, negative perception that vocational training is a second choice towards academic progression. We are leveraging ourselves to provide TVET as a pathway to education and therefore giving hope to our youth that even if you may not have made it through primary certification to enable you to go secondary and university, TVET now will provide for you a pathway and reach your aspirations as far as your academics dreams are concerned. We already have concluded the pathway for the education sector, and KNQA is also now embarking on other sectors, and that's the hope we want to give to our youth. Ladies and gentlemen, the elevation of the then institution to a national polytechnic status by the ministry in 2020 has placed it in a very unique position to effectively and notably contribute to the market labor through training of the much needed all-rounded skilled individuals with the right mix of skills that match the best in the world and with right attitudes towards work. Mine is to challenge the governing council to become more innovative in terms of income generation activities to enhance the financial sustainability base of the institution, but also to engage the private sector in as much as offering accommodation in form of hostels so that we can increase our number base in terms of enrollment and get to have a Kenyan face. The ministry is also committed to establish appropriate infrastructure, upgrade existing materials and training resources in all TVETs, and I believe when we are able to have these tools, then we'll abreast the technologies and leverage ourselves to be able to be ahead of the industry. I note with satisfaction the various development partners that have continuously worked together with us, and we wish to urge that we hold each other's hands so that we can be able to deliver the youth agenda for this country. Lastly, as I conclude, I wish to say that as far as Nyandarua National Polytechnic is concerned, we are committed as a ministry, Honorable Your Excellency, the Governor, to be able to support it as far as its infrastructure base. I wish just to request the principal to be able to communicate to us the various needs. We'll be able to look within that which is available so that we can be able to focus on this institution and be able to develop it, to be able to live within its mandate. With those remarks, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Honorable Governor, allow me to kindly request you to come and welcome the chief guest, our cabinet secretary, to your government in this county, so that you can be able to deliver a speech. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Asante. Thank you very much. Nafikiri hata wasichana ambao wako hapa wanaona, msome kwa bidii. Mweze siku moja kusimama kama PS, kama minister. Tupigie PS wetu makofi tena. Asante sana. And I also know that our chief guest is very, very supportive of the gender of the lady, the girl child and the boy child. Of course, she hapa Mount Kenya, she is Maghoha ni boy child. So pia uangalie mambo ya boy child. As you look at the boy and the girl child, shida iko sasa kwetu. Sisi lakini tumejikakamua. Na kwa sababu before I call the chief guest, we have a very important member who has joined here, a member of parliament for Kipipiri, but also the leader of majority in the parliament, in the National Assembly. And because he's here, he's also very passionate about education. I know he's one of the most passionate people I've seen in terms of education. As juzi ameitwa daktari, na ile daktari ya ukweli amesoma. So tupige makofi. Mheshimiwa Kimemia is happy for hapa Kipipiri tu. Hapa wanaboa mjuu Kipipiri. So wacha naye pia aseme jambo. Mheshimiwa hatujaongea siasa hata kidogo. Tumeongea 2 sentences. Tunakaa chini, so kama we have 2 sentences, na pia useme kitu alafu uniache nimwalike CS Maghoha. Karibu mheshimiwa, tupige mheshimiwa Kimemia makofi. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Governor, for alerting me that nobody has talked politics, so I can as well do it. CS for Education, Professor Maghoha, and your team, in the interest of time, all the leaders, all protocols observed. My apologies for coming this late into the day, but I said this is a day I was not going to miss. I had some things to sort out in the morning, and but I decided I still needed to make sure I can. And the reason is very simple, that I've seen this institution grow. From the early days when our parents started contributing money from the milk proceeds, it was being deducted off the KCC proceeds to come and start the institution. Then it collapsed. And then in 2003, 2004, we teamed up together as members of parliament and decided to commit part of our CDF from each of the 4 constituencies. There were 4 then. From each of those to come and revive these projects. And we did. And it got some life. And as they say, the rest is history. And then as we continued discussing, and I'm sure all this has been said by others, we, as fate would have it, I also found myself in the Education Committee in Parliament. And when we discussed among our colleagues, we said, do we continue agitating for starting of the University of Nyandara? Or should we be thinking where the rest of the country should be thinking in terms of investing into skills development through elevation of our Institute of Science and Technology into a national polytechnic? We had that conversation, and I'm sure when we raised the matter with Professor, we had a receptive person, because that's exactly the direction the country ought to be going. So I'm very happy to see it move from the little thing that we salvaged, which was a stalled project, to now being a national polytechnic that will not only serve Nyandarua, but the wider region. And indeed, it's a national polytechnic, serves the rest of Kenya. So I want to congratulate everyone who has been involved in this, in the development of this, and there have been many people over time. And to say this really is a big day for Nyandarua, that we now have an institution that can shape the skills development for this country into the future, and can also help Nyandarua be on the map. And for the people of Nyandarua, I think it's time to start thinking of what other investments can come to complement this, so that we don't have to keep asking a professor and the ministry that we want money for hostels, we want money for some infrastructure. It's time we now started getting the business community in Nyandarua to come and start putting up the facilities, the hostels and all that, so that all the people coming from outside the rest of this area will find accommodation, not just for the student, accommodation for the staff working here, and then there'll be benefits accruing to this county. That's the only politics I'll talk. Asanteni sana, and thank you very much, Professor, for, I know the passion you had on this matter in terms of the really growing, not just the in shifting and the re-engineering of higher education from just thinking of lots of academic degrees to actually getting skills that people can use to support the Big Four agenda, to support employment creation, and to respond to the challenges of the future. Asanteni sana, and once again, my apologies for coming late, but perfect timing, at least I didn't have to disrupt the order. And perhaps with those many remarks, can I take this honor to invite our chief guests to address us.
Good afternoon. I think I'm among friends. I've worked with Francis Kimemia for a long time as the head of public service, and extremely receptive, as he has said. And I want to recognize him as I also recognize my other good friend. And I'll tell you the stories behind the two of them, the leader of majority. Allow me to adopt the rest of the protocol as has been said many times. First of all, with my good friend and mentor, leader of majority. At first I didn't like him because the universities were competing and I needed to buy a building. And the current head of public service, Kenya, approved a request for about 500 million shillings loan to buy that cooperative building, which was eventually taken by the Methodist University. And then I went to see Mr. Kimemia and he said, no, this is not, the investment is not going to buy this, it is not worth it. And he said, go back to the drawing table. And we went back to the drawing table. We looked at what we had, and 5 years later we started that tower, which is now standing. So you are part of that credit. So sometimes when people tell you things which you don't want to hear, you should give them an opportunity. As for Mr. Francis Kimemia, we had many brushes on the issue of performance contract. And I think he pushed me so hard that before I left the university, in the year of 2012, my university was the only excellent at that time. And I don't know whether there has been any other excellent since that time. So they have worked well. And I want to come and start saying that I'm in Nyandarua. And I think Nyandarua, despite him saying some areas are hardship areas, Nyandarua is the real Canaan. Because if you have been to Israel, and I think all my leaders have been, there's just one valley there, which is very tiny. And they do everything from it. This is Nyandarua. It's not a small place. And even the domicile of this institution, I planted a tree somewhere not far from here. I was asking where the soil came from the ground. And that soil came from the ground. So this institution is actually in Canaan. The real Canaan that is in the Bible. What are we doing with it? But before I go there, I want to pronounce myself once again on the issue of the competency-based curriculum. And just to re-emphasize that this morning, I went to 2 schools in Nyandara. One was a primary school, and I went to 2 classrooms teaching CBC. And those who were there with me saw that The teacher was animated with the children. Every child is engaged and focused and learning. I also went to a Form 3 and a Form 4. And those who are with me will see that they were waiting for me to ask if there was anything for me to ask. That is the difference. In the primary school, I was happy to see a child putting beads into a thread. Another one was knitting. Some others were doing other things. Those children will remember what they are doing, not what they are told. So that is the difference in CBC, and that is why we shall defend it to the last ounce of our blood. Coming back to this excellent institution, I was here about a year ago. His Excellency the President had directed me to come and assess what is happening in this institution, because he had wanted it to be a national polytechnic. And what I saw, because I've been to others, I've been to Nyeri, which is excellent, I've been to Eldoret, which is excellent, and some others, ish. But this one was an ISO. Let the truth be said, because I was first taken to where they are storing new tractors. About 4 or 5 of them, and all the farm implements. Then I asked, how long have these things been here? Say, about 3 to 4 years. I said, you should not be alive. The land is there, the machines are there, the government is there, the streams are there, and there's nothing happening. So I first of all want to congratulate the new principal who has been here. Because I was taken to the farm this morning. But it is still not good enough. And this is with all due respect. His Excellency the President wants us to upskill our youth. So I don't know what the laborers were doing harvesting potatoes. It is an anomaly of the highest order. Because I train surgeons, and I don't train them on television. So I have to open an abdomen and take your hand and put it there. So if you are going to train people to harvest potatoes, including the trainer, even the trainer, you are not going to escape. These hands of Honorable Kimemia were clean as, which means he has not touched the soil. That's not a trainer. Why should this government import potatoes, for heaven's sake? I've heard all that you have said. Your Excellency, the Governor, Honorable Kimemia. The government is in the same trajectory. We would like this to be an institution awarding degrees. But we don't clap. The certification from the degree should be commensurate with what you have learned in the field. That is the gap that is missing here. So I want to give you an assurance that from the point of view of government, we are going to get you the trainers. But we don't want artificial trainers. We want trainers. The children will remember what you are doing. If you are a teacher and you are digging and removing potatoes from the ground, they will follow you to do it. If you wear a jacket and you are moving around, they will follow you to do the same. So when they come out, actually you have not imparted any active knowledge on them. The other time I saw another new Kenyan who came to buy land here. He's producing potato seeds. I did not see any farmhand with him. He was actually touching the soil himself. So let us get out of this box, as your leaders are saying, and start training. So that when we give you a certification from Nyandarua National Polytechnic, then it can be different. The second point I want to say is this. You must be a polytechnic with a difference. What do you want to be a center of excellence on? We have 4 areas as far as government is concerned. This is a potato producing area. I keep listening and saying, what are the researchers doing here? Why are we importing potatoes? Are we not crazy? If it is technology, yes. Why ordinary potatoes when you are actually in Canaan yourself? Why? This is a problem that the political leaders must take on, the professionals must also take on, and this institution must take the lead on. That's why I'm coming back here in February. I want to see whether all the land you have is being used for the production of potato seeds of different varieties, as we are training these children here. This one is from Kanyanyaini, which is my village. This one is from Egypt. This one is from here. And as far as we are concerned, we are training now for export. Are we together? Then it will matter if you have a degree or a diploma from this institution. Otherwise, you will join the bandwagon. Is that what you want? You are not answering because it is what you want, but I've given you a challenge. And for you, the students, the best I saw on you today is the band. The band was very well trained. The ones I engaged in the presentation, there is a gap between the trainer and the student. And let the truth be said. And this must be addressed by a principal. Don't hold your trainers like eggs. Give them performance contracts. Those who don't fit can go and work elsewhere. And we look for some who can fit. Because what is happening is that you may give so many people certificates to go out with, and then they are not employable. The president wants us to unskill these people. That's why we have even changed the syllabus to be called CBET. And you should not have taken me to the farm if students were not there. Next time, I don't want to see anyone. Because even what the students are doing, I can do. And you should also be able to do. Then they will remember. Do you get the point? Because I can tell you, I headed the University of Nairobi for many years, produced graduates with agricultural degrees, and they remained jobless for 10 years. Do you think they were skilled enough? The answer is no, because some of them have learned, and they are looking for a job in Nairobi. Who is a stupid idiot? Is it not the person who is sitting in his father's house, hoping that I have made 1,000 applications, and you have 10 acres lying there, which you can use to employ other people? I think this country should not be, Your Excellency, with all due respect, importing any food. Why are we going to give you money? As I was entering the institution, I'm not going to repeat what has been repeated. We are going to give you money because we have seen that the little money you have, we can palpate where it is. It is not in your pocket. Do you get the point? Because the transformation has been shocking from the gates with the little money that they have. So, Madam PS, I know that we have money from even certain banks. His Excellency the President is interested in this institution. We must and we shall provide money and ensure that the building that has been started is completed. And that's what we are saying is completed. Listen, and I also want to thank the county government for working with us, because you took over all the others. The road, the water, and what have you. So it is not about becoming a university, it's about us ensuring that you can measure what can be done. Many years ago, before I went abroad to study, buildings never used to collapse. Why are they collapsing now? It's because, again, when I went to an examination process, at one other institution, a national one, or no, it's not a national one, but it's big enough. They were training people on how to lay brick and mortar. Do you know what they were using to make the joints? They were using chalk. The engineers here, that's the biggest joke of the world. It is like, before I give you an examination to go and operate, I use models. So when you go and see the patient, you don't know what to do. And the answer was that, cement is too expensive. It is too expensive. Why don't you fold up and go? Expensive for who? The government does not say cement is expensive. The government wants us to train people who can build buildings that do not collapse. And it is in this same institution, Your Excellency, where I was asking, how do you test the strength of a concrete slab? And the teacher was going to, but the machine is on the wall, I can't see it. The machine is on the wall somewhere, but he doesn't know. So if we are going to move forward, we must move forward together as one government. Are we together? The students must be ready to do what we're asking them to do. Because if you want your hands to be clean, there's no job with clean hands. If you are to see where I work, the only thing I have is a mask. You will not survive there. So when you're in the farm with all the oxygen around you, what the hell, what do you think you are talking about? You're in a small room, you're operating on somebody down there for 10 hours. And you must come when you have completed the operation. And the patient is alive. Forget about the smell and everything else. So if you want to keep your hands clean, then don't come to this polytechnic. And the teachers also, if teachers want to keep clean, then they are in the wrong profession. We unskill by making our hands dirty. So I've emphasized this, Your Excellency, because you are near. You can keep checking where they are taking the children to them. Yeah. So that if I want to hire, or if a child wants to start his own, he knows what to do. He will challenge you there. And you don't take the child there when you're in, where you may shoot you make up and again. Where do you go up? Are we together? Let me end by saying that as far as we are concerned, most of the things I wanted to state have been stated. But from an overarching policy perspective, the government of His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta puts premium, maximum premium, on TVET activities. The 844 used to allow very many students to get lost in the process. What His Excellency has guided us to do, CBC is going to carry everybody. So if you are good in TVET activities, we start seeing you in primary school and encourage you. There is dignity in everyone, as long as you can earn money for your family and yourself. So we must be training for our own employment. Don't train to be unemployed. That's what the former curriculum used to do. You produced graduates who can do nothing unless you belong to the first 10%. So if you train to be a cleaner, it's a cleaner of everything, from toilet to everywhere. That's one of the most important jobs that are available in this world. Can Kenyans give that job the dignity that it deserves? Why are we happy to be cleaners in the US, in London, even in Russia, but here, you would rather stay home? We have to change our mindset. Every job is important. Can we respect people because of what they can do? And the best way is to ask, if you have to live for 24 hours, what are the things you must do in life? For example, you must go to pass water in the morning. Therefore, to clean the toilet and become a plumber is one of the most important things. Is there anybody, including everybody here, who has not gone to the toilet today? It's not a laughing matter. Then why should we not respect the person who is cleaning the toilet? Why should we not train such a person in these institutions on how to make sure that those are is done? Why should we not, if you have a floor in your house, why should you not make it in such a way that your child even understands that that floor should stay? I mean, the Cambridges of this world, floors are lasting 800 years. 800 years. Kenyan floors, some of them are lasting 8 months or less. Are we together? So the integrity starts with, I don't need to be a very wealthy person, because my wealth is in my heart and in what I'm giving back to the society. It's not on what I'm going to accumulate. Am I going to be buried with it? So let us respect each other. I think you have an excellent chair. I was going to say this last because I have also a conflict of interest with her. Because Wagai was my Dean of Dental Sciences. I also nominated her to help me work at the medical board. And she's extremely competent. So the combination of Mr. Kimemia, Wagai, and Kimemia, I don't know what else we want. You can actually do whatever you want in this institution. And like I said, the national government is going to be with you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope when I come in February, we shall have those potatoes. If there is one thing that you can do for the president, tell him that as far as potatoes are concerned now, once you have produced the seeds, you can even follow and go and hire and commercialize and make money. So that all this crying of give us this, give us that, like Mr. Kimemia is saying, goes to hell. Do you understand where hell is? As far as I thought I will not leave without mentioning the cows. I've been told by the governor that here there are farmers whose cows produce 50 liters. You are the one who is training the people who are going to help dairy farmers in the whole of the country, isn't it? If your cows are only producing 25, what are they going to teach the others? It's not a laughing matter. It's a very serious matter. So there are many areas, if you focus on food production alone, in your area of excellence, it can be done, and like Ms. Honorable Kimemia has said, we can look for more land. Government is amenable, ready, and willing to ensure that if you show a vision, you are clapping too early. If you show that there is willingness as to what you are going to do to the land, let us say you have done the potato seed thing, and then in addition to supplying the seeds, you want to engage in commercial potato farming, and you want the government to help you to get 200 acres. What stops government from buying it for you? Actually, you are a national institution, and you can survive from there. Now you can clap if you want. I have been advised by my brother that I now, on behalf of His Excellency the President, whose idea it was, may I now declare the National Polytechnic, the Nyandarua National Polytechnic, officially open.
Hiyo makofi haitoshi. Tungepiga ile ya factory. Nasikia mnapiga 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 1 2, inaitwa nini hiyo? Syllabus hiyo. Tumpigie hiyo. Hiyo ya factory. 1 2 3 4